the team at New Balance, the official Proteas gear partner for the Proteas cricket team, for partnering with us here on World Sports Wrap in the build-up to the Cricket World Cup 2019. So thanks once again to New Balance. Great to have you guys on board. We're going to do absolutely everything we can to follow the boys as they get out there and hopefully do us proud and bring back that ever-elusive World Cup trophy, which we've been trying for years and years and years. So many bittersweet moments in terms of the boys getting so far and just not enough. And joining us here is Brendan. We're going to chat to him, but we're going to dive straight in, bring Malo and Brendan in on the discussion. And guys, welcome. Your thoughts, initial thoughts on the World Cup and what's coming up, and what you see as being what the Proteas are going to get up to in the next couple of months.
Well, thanks a lot for having me. I know I gate crashed you here at the last second, but man, I've lived through every one of those World Cup disappointments, and it chips away at me every 4 years, a little more. So I'm praying, I'm doing everything I possibly can to edge the guys on. When AB de Villiers retired last year, I kind of decided to give up on cricket. And
What?
And well, you know,
You're one of those guys.
It's like when I have a bad round of golf, you know, I'm giving up on golf, and then the next week I play again. But I just thought, man, that guy, you know, he could play another 2-3 years still at his level. You've seen what he's did in the IPL, and any team would love to have him. There's no doubt about it. So it is a missing link, but at the same time, let's use it as a positive with some new guys in the squad. And I like the way that Faf handles the captaincy, and the way he talks specifically from a mental point of view, how important that is. Because let's be honest, they're all talented. On our day, we can beat anyone, and we've shown it.
I was about to say, do you think that's what's missing? Is that everyone is at the same level of ability, but the mentality, maybe from a South African point of view, hasn't been there, and that's the reason we haven't been able to get over the line? Is it just the mentality now that we need to work on?
Well, if you look at the World Cups, yes, there were some unfortunate times with rain, which we could do nothing about. But those teams would smash everyone leading up to World Cups and during World Cups, and then in those key moments, the big players wouldn't stand up.
BMT.
Yeah.
Or as some other people would call it.
Yeah, I don't like to say it.
Guys, we've got to call it. We've got to call it what it is. I mean, the reality is, we've been, and Brendan, you're 100% right in my opinion. We've been in a position to win on more than one occasion. 2010 comes to mind, probably the most recent one. And yet, for me, I think you're spot on. It's the mental approach. I think we have been missing the mental component of the game. Hopefully, the build-up, what Faf has been doing in terms of focusing a lot more on the mental side of the game, getting the guys. And yeah, I don't think it's just Faf. I think there's been a hell of a lot also happening in the background.
Technical team. And
yeah,
so forth,
and a whole bunch of other things. But I think we have a great squad. I think we have the lads in that change room that can bring this trophy home this year. I think there are a couple of big teams we need to be worried about, and we'll talk about that just now. But I think the big thing is, let's fly through those 10 nations, because we've got 2 months of cricket coming up, 10 nations playing, and in alphabetical order, just to quickly run through those nations, we're starting off with Afghanistan, Australia, Bangladesh, England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and the West Indies. Okay, so it's the creme de la creme of ODI talent on display starting in 10 days' time. There's obviously a series of warm-up matches that are going to take place between the 24th and the 28th of this month, May. So looking at some of those matches and quickly dive into the South African matches. The Proteas play the Sri Lankans on Friday the 24th, so this coming Friday. And then the West Indies on Sunday the 26th. Big games.
2 days later.
Okay, 2 days later. Big games. For me, there's 2 very, very interesting warm-up matches, and Brendan, I'm sure you got some thoughts on these. England play Australia. India play New Zealand. Now, I mention both of those because all 4 of those teams have arguably tournament winners. And many, many commentators have spoken about New Zealand being a red-hot favourite for this year. Okay, dark horse, but a red hot favourite. Australia have got lots to prove with both Steve Smith coming back and David Warner. They've been building up. What are those two players going to do to morale, bearing in mind that they are match winners in their own right? England, on home soil,
Our opening game.
are the out-and-out favourites, if I read the bookmakers' numbers correctly. But you cannot discount India. India's form in the
100%.
build-up to, have they lost an ODI in the last 12 to 18 months?
They did lose to Australia in a series recently in India.
One match
The
with
series.
the series.
India.
They came back. Australia came back from 2-0 down to win 3-2.
Okay.
But I think India have the best seam attack they've had in decades. So obviously on English pitches, that's going to be a huge factor. And Virat Kohli is that good that he can win the World Cup for them. He is that good
Absolutely, on his own.
on his own.
And then don't forget, you've got Mr. Helicopter there himself, Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
The best chaser probably ever since Michael Bevan.
Absolutely.
I mean, that guy, you see what he did regularly in the IPL. The Chennai Super Kings would be completely out of it. And he just score 50, 60, 70 off half the amount of
He
deliveries. He's phenomenal.
bring back victory from the jaws of defeat.
Look, I think our challenge is based on a handful of players. If they don't perform, like in the previous World Cups, Jacques Kallis never quite pitched up in World Cups.
Where it matters. Yeah.
Imran Tahir you saw him in the IPL again, he's phenomenal. If he bowls well, if Kagiso Rabada is fit and firing, because I know he's got a shoulder problem, and if Quinton de Kock, with whoever he starts with at the top, and it's not definitely going to be Hashim Amla, and Faf du Plessis, if the four of those players,
It's a lot of ifs,
perform,
eh?
four of them,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Cock's been in form, du Plessis been in form, Rabada, he's never been out of form,
Yeah.
and Tahir basically ever since he started playing for us. So if those four, if de Kock gets us off to quick starts, and then du Plessis can bat through the innings, and Tahir and Rabada strike, and then at the end of innings you got Miller and Dumini smacking it out the park with the help of Pet Luguayo.
There's my problem, Miller. Mr. Inconsistent. If he can find some form of consistency for me in the back end of every single innings, particularly in the chase, I think, irrespective what the top order does, David Miller, the talent that man has, we've seen it, both here in the domestic leagues for the Proteas and also in the IPL, can single-handedly do a Virat Kohli, can single-handedly do a Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He will win games for us. My problem is his consistency worries me.
He takes an over or two to get going, which sometimes at the end of the innings doesn't work. But when he actually gets in early, he scores runs because he has the time.
The problem, in my opinion, again, is that over that it takes to get going. It's inevitably a 4 or a 6, the next one is out. It's like, oh, this is too easy, let me go another one. As opposed to just saying, I've got the 8-9 for the over, let's just chill,
Yeah. And go
Play
to the
it
next
out.
over. Yeah.
and let's just find myself at the other end. And let's bang at the next one.
I'd like
Game
to,
management.
Yeah, sure. And interesting that, with Norkia, which I thought, man, the guy's young, he's just come into the scene, going straight to a World Cup. I thought, okay. They obviously want him there because he's really quick. Now that he's out and Chris Morris is in, who's probably one of the most talented, inconsistent players on the scene, man, he's frustrating. But that guy's a match winner.
Yeah.
He,
As a swing bowler,
as a swing bowler, he's really good at the death, and he can smack it out the park when he's on form. So if a Miller suddenly strikes form with that all-round ability of his, who knows? But of course, Pretorius and Pet Luguayo are ahead of him in the queue as far as all-rounders are concerned. And that balance has been our issue over the years.
yeah.
The all-rounders, the bowlers, because let's be honest, I mean, if Steyn, Ngidi, Rabada and Tai are all fit, they're all going to play. So then you only got place for probably one all-rounder, because Dumini is going to also contribute with his overs, and I think I'm really glad that he's going, because he can bat through an innings and he can snack it at the end.
Yep.
But he chips in with those wickets. Remember the quarter-final of the last World Cup, he took a hat-trick.
He's in my view, he's the epitome of a pie man. He throws down a couple of pies, but guess what? Pie man always seems to get a wicket or two. And he is that man. But the one guy that none of you have mentioned, which I'm very, very happy that he did get into the squad, Aiden Markram.
Well, I agree with you, and I think he should, at the start of the World Cup, open with de Kock.
That would be a great call. Right, let's move on and just talk a little bit about the main tournament. So we spoke a little bit about the warm-up matches. So there's going to be a couple of, each side gets to play 2 matches in the warm-up up until the 28th. And then the main tournament begins.
Are they official ODIs? Because I don't think so.
No.
You know, and I don't like that. Because every game should mean something.
Should be.
You know, you take a fifer and it means nothing. You make 100, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Every game should mean something, but I know why they're doing it, so they can have more players playing in the match than just the 11.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you've got 2 warm-up games, you can play a whole squad. I don't know. I don't like the idea of playing and messing around because they don't play properly.
And that's the other problem for me. I think that the Proteas are going into this without having a settled 11. I think the way they played their last series was indicative, and I said it right here on the show, indicative of the fact that they do not know who their opening 11 are going to be at the World Cup.
Number of injuries, and they were chopping and changing, trying to try everyone.
Yeah.
Is playing England in the opening game, in your guys' opinion, good for us to start playing the potential favourites for the tournament, or would you rather play them later on in the competition?
My opinion, I think it's good. I think the sooner we get into, so
Tough fixtures.
yeah, we're in a game. We're in a tournament now, guys. I mean, think
Where
about
to
it.
hide.
Think about it. You start off with the likes of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, okay? Then maybe you take on the West Indies, also a very inconsistent team.
Just to get a feel of the tournament.
Now you're getting a feel of it. Okay, you walk away with wins, close wins against relative minnows.
Yeah.
Then you come up against an India and you get given a hiding.
Yeah.
Now the tournament suddenly starts. For me, I kind of like
England start
I kind of like going up against the hosts
from
because
the beginning.
for me, if Brennan, you're right, and it's about the mental game. This is going to force Faf's hand to make sure that we are switched on from game 1. We're not building up to be switched on. And I think playing the likes of Sri Lanka, who are also a dark horse, they have the ability to beat any side on the day, and the West Indies, okay, as warm-up matches. It's also great matches, because looking at some of the other matches, can you imagine being Pakistan? Your warm-up match is against Afghanistan. How do you get a sense of what you're coming up against? Okay.
Look, Afghanistan, they've got a couple of players that have played in the RPL that are serious players.
Sure. But 2 players don't make a team.
Sure.
Yeah, 2
And as
players.
far as England's concerned, remember the 2003 World Cup? We lost the opening game against the West Indies. And often the hosts, they've got all the pressure on them.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
generally favourites. And England are going to be overwhelming favourites in that first game.
Yeah.
They're going to have a packed partisan crowd. And watch.
Yeah.
England under pressure, we're going to take them in the first
But I
game.
want to go back to the Pakistan warm-up. Second Pakistan match against Bangladesh. Very difficult. How do you get set? So yeah,
After they've been beaten 4-0 by England now.
correct. So let's have a look at the main tournament. The Proteas played 7 different stadiums, playing 2 games in succession at the Oval, that's England and Bangladesh, and at the Hampshire Bowl, which is India and the West Indies. So if you think about it, we start off with England, then into Bangladesh, then into India, then into the West Indies. So we are definitely in a tournament. We've got 9 matches to
I
play.
think the structure of the tournament works in our favour.
It does.
We play everyone, and then it's 2 games we need to win.
Yeah. And the thing is, we're playing top-end sides every alternate game almost. The Proteas' final match is against the Aussies at Old Trafford. Okay? At Old Trafford. Right. Top 4 nations then play for a place in the final. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And the final takes place at Lord's on Sunday, the 14th of July.
And
Okay.
It allows a couple of slip-ups.
Yeah.
Because if you end 4th or 1st, it's completely irrelevant. Because it's neutral venues unless you
Yes.
play England. So whether you end 4th and you just sneak in 4th,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
you know what?
As long as you
If we lose a few games and we just sneak in 4th, we come in as the dark horses. South Africa, no way, we're playing first. We can beat anyone on our day. And I'm telling you, if we go that route, we'll win the World Cup. I don't want to lose games, but rather lose a few first.
Nice confidence there, Brendan.
Yeah.
Nice confidence. Right, so now along with New Balance, as we said at the top of the segment, we'd love to help you look the part as you support the Proteas in their goal to win the ever-elusive Cricket World Cup trophy and bring it home. And we have got 2 official replica shirts to give away tonight. Yes, 2 courtesy of New Balance. And all you have to do in the remaining 6 minutes of the show is to be one of 2 people to correctly answer the following question. Can you name the venue where the Proteas will play their final group game and against which nation? I'll repeat that. Name the venue where the Proteas play their final group game and against which nation? First 2 correct answers on our WhatsApp number, that's 0645368228, win themselves one of these stunning New Balance shirts, courtesy of New Balance South Africa. So get those answers coming in. We'll keep the lines open as long as possible, but you stand a chance to look the part as we build up to Cricket World Cup 2019. Guys, thank you so much for your inputs. Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to carry this on next week. We'll do a bit of a breakdown on some of the top teams, top players to expect before that very first game that kicks off later next week. So looking forward to that discussion next week.
Definitely one of the best shirts I've seen.
It is.
Protea shirt.
It is.
You know, often ours is a bit, you know, the one you're wearing is nice, but it's, you know, it's sort of plain and it's, you know, this one, I'm telling you, it's got something about it. I like it.
It's got that feel.
Very, very nice feel.